I've done several videos in the past where I go through and I show how faith alone and eternal security are unbiblical. So I'm not really going to make that my focus today. My main focus today is I want to show you how eternal security and faith alone preachers are deceiving you. I'd like to lift back the curtain, so to speak, and give you a glimpse into the spiritual realm, God willing, and let you see how they're deceiving you, what's going on behind the scenes. Now, I just want to say this up front that these are not just good men who simply have bad doctrine. Now, there may be some out there who I would like to think that God will have mercy on, who are genuinely deceived and God's going to bring out of this. But the ones who really just will not accept correction on this, who really just vehemently push this, these are not good men. And I'm going to show you why here in a minute. But they twist the scriptures as I'm going to show you and I'm going to prove to you. And they're hindering people from entering the kingdom. Just like Jesus said about the Pharisees, that they're hindering people from entering the kingdom. And they cross land and sea to make one proselyte. And when they do, they make them twice the child of hell they themselves are. And, but I truly believe that these people are genuinely deceived. They're self-deceived. They're deceived and deceiving others. So they don't even know it. That's the worst part. Jesus said that be careful that the light in you is not really darkness, because how great will that darkness be? That means that these people are going to be so deceived that they think they have the truth and they will devote their entire lives for this cause. And they will believe it with everything they've got, every fiber of their being. And there's no doubt that a lot of these guys are genuine in what they believe, but they're deceived. Now listen, the devil is crafty. The serpent, it says, was crafty when he deceived Eve. And we have to be careful to stand against the schemes of the devil, the tricks and the wiles of the devil. And Paul said to not let anybody delude us with plausible arguments. That means that the arguments that these men are presenting seem plausible. They seem reasonable. You're gonna look at their arguments and say, well, yeah, that seems to make sense to me. They're going to be plausible, Paul says. That means that they're not just going to be overtly false. You're just going to be able to tell immediately. That's the whole point of deception. The devil is crafty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a physical analogy to describe the spiritual realm. Again, I'd like to lift back the curtain, so to speak, and show you what's really going on with these people, what they're really trying to get you to do, whether or not they actually know it or not, what their goal is, what they're trying to get you to do. The analogy that I'm going to use is comes from the Bible. These are analogies that the Bible uses, not me. It uses, to describe our salvation, it uses things like sports or competing and running a race for a medal or to win a prize. Soldiers enlisting in the military. The Bible calls us soldiers. And also a servant-master relationship. These are analogies that the Bible uses to describe salvation. So that's what I'm going to be going through. Now, listen, there is the initial salvation. I've sort of explained this before, but there's the initial salvation, and this is important to understand the difference. There is getting grafted on the tree. There's getting grafted on the vine. Okay, this includes all those verses that talk about, like Ephesians 2:8-9, that it's not of works so that no man may boast. This getting grafted on the vine is not due to our works. It's not like we performed a certain way, we attained a certain level, and then God decided to choose us based on our merit, and we were just like, well, of course, you got to pick us. No, that's not how we're saved. We're not saved by earning our salvation. We're not grafted onto the vine by being really good and then earning that position. So look at it this way. Most teams out there, most professional teams, they draft people based on their abilities. They scour the land to see who the best player is and who's got the most potential. Well, that's not how it works necessarily with God. God picked prostitutes to go into the kingdom, murderers like Saul, drug users, okay? These are the people that are going into the kingdom. These are the people that are being freed from their sins, grafted on the vine. It's not those who just think that they're so amazing and that they deserve to be on the vine, because that would be prideful. People thinking, "Oh, well, I've done XYZ, so I deserve to be in a relationship with you." No, that's not how it works. See, on God's team, he drafts people, he brings people in, grafts them on the vine, not based upon works. It's a gift, okay? But that's the grafting on. That's the grafting into the vine. But then in John 15 and in other parts of the Bible, it tells us to abide in him. So this is after we're grafted on. Then we need to abide. And John 15:10, Jesus says how we abide. It's to keep his commands. It's very plain. He says it's to keep his commands. This is the abiding part. Once we're already on the vine, then we're expected to obey. Okay? Just think about it like this. Let's say you are drafted onto a professional football team. And you didn't earn that position. In fact, when they came to you and asked if you wanted to be on the team, you said, well, there's no way I can play professional football. I'm not that good. But he saw potential in you. He knew that he could get you there. He said, listen, I'll get you there. I will get you there. I'll teach you. I'll equip you. I'll be with you every single second of the day. In fact, I'm going to live with you. I'm going to eat with you, sleep with you. I'm going to just be with you all the time. And in fact, that's exactly what happens. God puts his spirit in us. When we're grafted on the vine, his spirit comes into us and he abides with us. Okay? But when that happens, we need to continue to abide, and that's through obeying. So we didn't come into the relationship with God based upon what we did. But just like a person who comes on the team, he's then expected to show up for practice. He's then expected to make as much effort as he can to win the prize, to make it to the Super Bowl, right? He's expected as a servant who's indebted to this coach who took him in and gave him way more than he could have imagined. He's indebted. He's a slave to this guy. He's expected to give him all he's got and win the Super Bowl. So now, once he's on the team, he's absolutely expected to discipline his body. He's expected to eat right. He's expected to make sure he works out. He's expected to make sure he shows up for practice, wake up early, do all these very difficult things that don't necessarily just come naturally. Okay? And think about it just like a soldier as well. So let's say a recruiter enlists a soldier and the guy's like, well, there's no way I can be a soldier. I'm not cut out for that. And he says, you know what? You can be a soldier. I'm going to make you a soldier. Just listen to my teaching. I'm going to equip you. I'm going to give you everything you need. I'm going to give you the teaching that you need, everything you need. And I'm going to be with you. And you're going to get there. Now, he didn't earn his position there, but he's absolutely expected to carry out the orders of the one that enlisted him. Like Paul said, his aim is to please the one who enlisted him. In our case, that's Jesus. Okay? And if we just think about a servant-master relationship, it's the same thing. Servant-master relationship, a servant is expected to obey his master. Now, here, my whole point is this. Here's what I'm getting at. These ministers of darkness, these are not men of God. These are ministers of darkness. They come along and they, just like the serpent, try to get you to question God's word. They try to get you to not obey the master. That's their whole point. Okay? And this is how they do it. This is what I want to show you guys. This is how they operate. At least in a big sect of Christianity today. So they come up to the guy who has been drafted on the team, not a result of works, so that he may not boast, right? He's been drafted. He's been given this great opportunity. Now, this guy has probably either become a bench warmer who's about to get cut from the team, or he's already been completely cut from the team. He's already lost his salvation. In fact, the Bible in 2 Peter, it says that these men who preach this have actually already lost their salvation. They denied the master that bought them. That means they've fallen away. They've lost their salvation. And as Jude says, they're twice dead. Okay? These men are twice dead. That means that they're spiritually dead, but they still think they're alive. Just like the Laodiceans. They think they're alive. But the light they think they have is actually darkness. And that's what's scary. And they don't even know it. But these workers of Satan come along that masquerade as ministers of light, the Bible says. They come up to you and they sow this doubt in your mind, and they make you think that you don't need to obey God. And this is how they do it, okay? They come along and they say, hey, what are you doing? And you say, well, I'm on this team, so I'm striving. I'm trying as hard as I can to obey the coach, to do everything he tells me to do, to wake up early, to beat my body, to really just give it 120% effort here. And this minister of Satan goes, whoa, wait. Okay, that's fine that you're obeying, but are you doing it because you're worried that you're going to be cut from the team? And the guy goes, well, yeah, the master, the coach did say that if I didn't perform up to his expectations, then I would be cut from the team. He did warn us about that. He absolutely did warn us. Now, the eternal security preachers will come up and say, no. See, he'll never, ever cut you from the team, regardless of your performance. No. He promised he'll never do that. But the faith alone preachers, they sometimes come at it from a different angle. They'll say, well, but wait, you didn't do anything to earn your position, right? They'll say, well, yeah, I guess I didn't do anything to earn it. And they'll say, see, it has nothing to do with your performance at all. See, you don't have to obey to stay on the team, even though there's all these warnings that the coach specifically gave that said that you do need to obey him and do everything he tells you to do in order to remain on the team. Like I did in a video before, we don't earn our salvation, but we absolutely keep it according to the Bible, not according to me. According to the Bible, we must abide or keep our standing with God. And just like that, these people, whether it's a soldier, whether it's a servant-master relationship, whether it's somebody who got drafted on a team, he has to keep his position and bear fruit worthy of the master. So this is what we're doing. But the servant of Satan comes up and says, well, okay, that's fine if you want to obey. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But if you're doing it because you think that if you don't, you'll be cut from the team, then that's actually prideful. And not only that, but the coach actually despises that. He despises when you think that you can actually obey him and do what he says for the sake of remaining on the team. He actually hates that. And the guy goes, what, really? Really? Wow. So if I feel like I can do anything so that I don't get cut from the team, he actually hates that. Oh yeah. Actually, that's disgusting to him. That's offensive to him because you actually believe that you're earning your position here on the team. Yeah. And the guy goes, wow, really? I never thought about it that way. And if he's naive and gullible, he'll start to be lured away from a pure and obedient faith. He'll start to be lured away into this, oh, no, you don't have to do anything in order to not be cut from the team. When, again, in the Bible, there's warning after warning after warning after warning to make yourself ready, to make yourself worthy for the master, or else you'll be cut to pieces. You'll be cut from the vine. You'll be cut from the team, so to speak. Okay? But that's what these people do. They try to say, no. Okay. If you want to obey just out of sheer desire and wanting to please the coach that drafted you, then that's okay. But if you do it for the reason of thinking that keeps you on the team, then that's actually insulting. And the guy, if he had any sense at all, he would just go, really? I mean, because I'm just obeying. I mean, I'm just doing what the coach told me to do. Listen, the coach told me to show up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do all these drills. And I just did it. Okay. I did it. Why? Because yes, out of gratitude, but also because I don't want to be cut from the team. I've been given a great opportunity. I don't want to be cut. You see, whether it's for the sake of not being cut from the team out of fear of God, in other words, or whether it's out of sheer gratitude, regardless, you still have to do it. Now listen, I'm not saying that motivations don't matter at all. I mean, if you're not doing it in love, then yes, it doesn't matter. But when it comes to whether or not you're doing it to keep your status on the team, or whether you're doing it out of gratitude, what difference does it make? You're still doing the will of the master. Again, not to say that if you're doing it with the wrong motivation, like if you're not doing it in love, that doesn't matter. I'm not saying that. But when they come up to you and they try to tell you that you're going to hell if you believe that anything you do, in other words, obey, that your obedience can keep you on the vine, then that's the lie of Satan. Okay, that's what they're trying to do, to get you to just slip into lukewarmness. So no, you don't have to do that. I mean, if you want to, hey, do it. That's great. But no, you don't have to do that. See, guys, really, it's the same lie since the beginning. The devil is crafty, and he told Eve a couple things, okay? The first thing was to sow doubt in her mind, right? To say, did God really say that you can't eat of this tree? Did God really say that? And then, Eve's probably, well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, hey, that seems like a plausible argument, right? And then he says, surely you won't die. What was he saying? Surely you won't die if you don't obey. That's exactly what faith alone preachers are trying to do. They're trying to take obedience out of the question. They'll say, well, but obedience follows true faith, but it has nothing to do with actual faith. See, they try to take obedience out of the equation. Anytime you take it out of salvation, it becomes what? Optional. It becomes optional. Now they'll vehemently deny this and say, absolutely not. No way. No, we believe you have to obey. A lot of them, unless they're free grace, they'll say, no, we believe you have to obey. But the bottom line is, if you say that it's not a part of salvation, then all it does is it makes it optional. And that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about works of the Mosaic law. We're not talking about any work that you feel like doing. No, we're talking about just what the coach, the teacher, the enlister, the army recruiter, the master tells you to do. That's it. This isn't self-righteousness. In fact, the guy that was drafted on the team and given this wonderful opportunity apart from any works that he did, that would never cross his mind unless somebody came up to him and tried to convince him that that was the case. It would never cross his mind that simply just doing what the coach told him to do is somehow earning his position. That just wouldn't cross his mind. If he was normal and he was just thinking about this from a spiritual perspective, he would just be thinking, wow, I've been given this great opportunity. I just need to obey. I just need to obey. If he tells me to wake up at 5 a.m, then guess what? I'm waking up at 5 a.m. And if he wants me to do this and that and eat right and go to the gym this many times a week, then I'm going to do that. Okay? Not to earn his position. No, he was given it freely, but to maintain his right standing on the team, to maintain his right standing with the master, with his superior. So, friends, this is how they're deceiving you. Let me just tell you something. In Matthew 25, Jesus lays it out on how we're going to be judged. And he goes through and says, the difference between the sheep and the goats. The sheep, they gave him food, they gave him drink, they welcomed him, they clothed him, they visited him, they came to him. Now, think about it this way. When you stand before Jesus, he says that he's gonna ask you these things. This is what he's gonna go through. Did you feed him? Did you give him food when he was hungry? Did you give him water when he was thirsty? And so on and so forth. Did you do these things? Let's just say, for example, like the one who they think is trying to earn his salvation when he's really just doing what he's told so he won't get cut from the team. Think about it this way. Could you imagine Jesus treating him like this, okay? Saying, okay, so did you feed the hungry? Say, yep, yeah, I fed the hungry. Did you give water to the thirsty? Did you welcome strangers? Did you clothe the naked? Did you visit the sick? Did you go to the people in prison? Did you do all that? Say, yeah, I did all that. And he says, oh, okay, great. All right, well done, good and faithful servant. Says, okay, now you're a sheep, now come to my right. And you start to go to the right, and he says, well, actually, wait a minute. Let me ask you one more thing. When you were doing all those things, were you doing them because you thought that you could lose your salvation, or because you thought that I might cut you from the vine if you didn't do those things? And could you imagine if he responds and says, well, yeah, I mean, because the Bible clearly said that if I didn't do those things, that I would be cut from the vine, or that I would stand before you in judgment, and I would be told, depart from me, you cursed, into the eternal fire, if I didn't do those things. So yes, I absolutely did them out of fear, out of gratitude, yes, as well, but also out of fear, because you said that you would say, depart from me, you cursed, into the eternal fire, for those who didn't do those things. Could you imagine him saying, you know what, it was so close. You did all those things, and I was almost going to let you in. I was almost going to let you into the kingdom, but you did them because you thought that would keep you from being cut from the vine. I'm sorry. I know you did all those things, but you know what? You did it all so that you wouldn't be cut from the vine. So I'm sorry. Depart from me, you cursed, into the eternal fire. Do you really think that's what he's going to say? Now, again, I'm not talking about somebody who thought that they were just all that and they earned their salvation and that God just owed it to them and they were just, amazing people apart from God. No, I'm talking about people who were abiding in the Spirit, who were walking by the Spirit. If the Spirit told them to do something, they just did it. If the Spirit told them, hey, go help this person out, they just did it. If the Spirit said, hey, I want you to give money to this cause, then they just did it. And whatever else it may be, I want you to go talk to this person. Whatever else, they just did it. Because why? Because they were obedient. They knew they had to obey. Do you really think that is going to cause them to be told, depart from me, you cursed, into the eternal fire? Again, I'm not talking about somebody who's just prideful, think they earn their salvation and think that they just deserved it. I'm talking about somebody who just heeded the warnings of the Bible, heeded all the verses about obedience. Like Jesus said, he said, my brother and my mother and my brothers are those who not only hear the word, but hear the word and do it. Because they believe those verses, they're going to be told that. Guys, no. Listen, these are the tactics that I'm trying to warn you about. This is what they do. It's that deceiving spirit. They're trying to get you to think that obedience is optional. Now they'll say, oh, but obedience will flow from your faith and all that. Friends, look at this. Look at this. 1 Corinthians 9:24-27. Check this out. Paul says, do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? So run that you may obtain it. Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we an imperishable. So I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air, but I discipline my body and keep it under control. Why? Lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified. Now you might say, well, this has nothing to do with salvation. Paul running to win the prize, that has nothing to do with salvation. This is just about rewards. And him not running aimlessly and not beating the air, but disciplining his body. In the KJV, I believe it says beating his body and keeping it under control. They'll say, no, this has nothing to do with salvation. Yes, it does. Listen to this. That word there, disqualified. I want you to do this. I want you to look it up. I want you to look it up in the Blue Letter Bible app or whatever you can, the concordance. Look up that word disqualified. It's the same word for reprobate, cast away. It always, every single instance, I believe it's maybe 7 or 9 times it's used in the New Testament. Every single time it's used to refer to somebody who is unsaved. Imagine that. So Paul says, unless he beats his body and keeps it under control, he, even after preaching to others, he will be a castaway, a reprobate. Just like in Romans 1, it says, and they see, since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them up to a debased mind to do what not ought to be done. This is that same word. This is talking about an unsaved person. When Paul says to examine yourselves to see whether you are in the faith, test yourselves, or do you not realize this about yourselves, that Jesus Christ is in you, unless indeed you fail to meet the test. He's talking about salvation. He's talking about unless you go to hell. If you fail the test, then that means that Jesus is not in you. That's what he's saying, that even after preaching to others, he could become reprobate, cast away. He could go to hell. Why? Because he didn't just have faith alone and just not try to do anything for salvation's sake? Friends, come on. No, he says that he beat his body and kept it under submission. Why? So that he didn't become a reprobate, so that he didn't go to hell. That was the reason that he did it. According to Paul, that was his reason for doing it. But a lot of people would say, oh, but if you have that mentality, then you're going to go to hell. Well, look. Again, you look this up for yourself. Every single time it's used in the New Testament, it's used to refer to an unsaved person. That's what that means. Paul was saying that he could become unsaved if he didn't beat his body and keep it under control. That's what he's saying. They profess to know God, but they deny him by their works. They are detestable, disobedient, unfit for any good work. This is an unsaved person. Hebrews 6:8, but if it bears thorns and thistles, it is worthless and near to being cursed, and its end is to be burned. Again, that word is talking about somebody who is cursed, not a saved person. So, friends, don't let them deceive you with this. Don't let them give you plausible arguments that you'll say, well, yeah, that does sound true. I guess I didn't earn my position here. I guess I didn't earn my position into being a servant of Jesus. So therefore, I guess that means I can't do anything to maintain my standing. Even though, again, scripture after scripture after scripture says that you must keep your salvation. You must endure to the end. You must do certain things. You must obey him. Yes, in order to not become reprobate, in order to not be cut from the vine. Friends, don't let them smooth talk you into just to being that person who's just saying, no, you don't want to obey. You don't want to obey because then it's going to make you prideful. Yeah, if you feel that you have to obey for salvation's sake or because you don't want to be cut from the team, then that'll make you prideful and arrogant. Now listen. Yeah, you definitely don't want to be prideful and think that you can do it without God. The key is that it's all Jesus all the way through. Jesus is the one that rescued us. Jesus is the one that equips us. Jesus is the one that teaches us. Jesus is the one that that gives us everything that we need. It was by his blood that we were redeemed. We can't just boast in that. We can't just boast in what we've done. No, it's the cross all the way through. It's Jesus all the way through. But Jesus demands his servants to obey him. Yes, for salvation's sake. Don't let anybody try to use smooth words to try to say otherwise. Just read through the parables. Do you ever get the idea that Jesus is saying, warning people, oh, hey, just be sure you have faith alone, and be sure you recognize that you're eternally secure. Yeah, be sure. Go through and read the parables and see if you get that impression from him. That's the main fear. No, the main worry throughout the parables, again and again and again and again, is that you need to obey, or you're going to be told, depart from me. I never knew you. You're going to be told, depart from me, you cursed, into the fire. You're going to be cut to pieces like it says in Luke 12, guys. Come on. Well, that's all I got. Please like, share, subscribe. God bless.